The reading is a quote from Brené Brown. Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. The responsive is number 587. For those of us who live at the shoreline, standing upon the constant edges of decision, crucial and alone.
For those of us who cannot indulge the passing dreams of choice.
For those of us who are imprinted with fear like a faint line in the center of our foreheads, learning to be afraid with our mother's milk.
For God's weapon, this illusion of some safety to be found, that every foot it holds must silence us.
For all of us, this instant and this triumph, we were never meant to survive.
And when the sun rises, we are afraid it might not remain. When the sun sets, we are afraid it might not rise in the morning.
And when we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed.
But when we are silent, we are still afraid.
So it is better to speak remembering.
We were never meant to survive.
We were never meant to survive. These are difficult words, but they speak to the experience of many people. Last week, we heard from Brené Brown about vulnerability. In her research, she learned that what separated those who have a sense of love and belonging from those who struggle with this is that they believe they are worthy of love and belonging. She then broke this down as follows. Number 1, they had the courage to be imperfect. Number 2, they had compassion to be kind to themselves first and then to others. Number 3, they had connection as a result of authenticity. Number 4, they fully embraced vulnerability. Those who do not have a sense of love and belonging tend to numb their emotions. And as Brené pointed out, we cannot selectively numb emotions. If we numb anger and pain, we also numb joy and gratitude. When we do so, we effectively numb vulnerability and so lose the capacity for connection and cannot have a sense of love and belonging. We often then choose blame, which is a way to discharge pain and discomfort. Those who cry out, "We were never meant to survive," as in the responsive reading, are those who were not given what they needed growing up. It is important, however, to understand that such calling out, such expression of grief and anger, is a way, like the psalmist, to counteract the tendency to numb. If I can wail, if I can express outrage, then I am not numbing, and I open the door to joy and the other emotions we all crave. At this point, I would like to give you a short course in attachment theory as a way to understand this more fully. Given the extreme vulnerability of infant humans, their little brains are hardwired to attach to an adult human. A human child will literally do anything in order to achieve this attachment. Without such an attachment, the infant is helpless and will be overtaken by survival terror, and there is literally nothing worse than this. Of course, the infant does not understand this, but she has the built-in competence without comprehension to do what is necessary to achieve attachment. In an ideal situation, the infant has a loving parent, usually the mother, who has the skill and ability to bond with the child. She connects in multiple ways, through face-to-face seeing, by responding to sounds through imitation, through touch, through offering life-sustaining nourishment through nursing, through comforting smells. The mother works hard to ascertain the infant's communication attempts to express needs, initially through trial and error. Is she hungry? I offer the breast. Is she tired? I offer the crib. Is she wet? I change the diaper. Is she bored? I offer stimulation, etc. When the mother gets it right, the baby feels understood. The baby knows that her attempts at communication are effective. She learns that she is powerful and worthy of being loved. This is what is called a secure attachment. In such a situation, the baby's brain develops. Literally, the right hemisphere experiences a growth spurt. Neural connections multiply. Secure attachment creates a healthy brain. According to research in the United States, among the non-clinical population, that is, among those who have not sought mental health treatment, approximately 65% have a secure attachment history. I would like to add secure attachment as one more privilege to go alongside white, male, heterosexual, cisgender, etc., albeit an invisible one. Those with secure attachment are much more likely to be authentic and wholehearted, to resist the temptation to numb feelings, and to be voluntarily vulnerable, and thus have more healthy, loving, fulfilling relationships, regardless of whatever other privileges they might or might not enjoy. So how about the other 35%? Remember that attachment is required for survival even if the adults present are abusive or so emotionally unavailable that they are unable to do what I earlier described in terms of connecting. If they are unable to do the work necessary to give the child what she needs, not only physically, in terms of food and shelter, but also emotionally, then the child will nevertheless find a way to attach. And this is called insecure attachment. There are three kinds: avoidant, about 20%, ambivalent, about 10 to 15%, and disorganized, about 10%. These folks have a much more difficult time in their life. Their brains do not fully develop in a healthy way. They struggle with being able to bond with their children, and the cycle repeats itself. The most challenging are those with what's called disorganized attachment, because as a child, they have experienced a profound internal struggle. I must attach to this adult, but I am afraid of this adult. This internal struggle persists into adulthood, and these are the ones who cry out, "We were not meant to survive." These are not empty words. These words are true. Some did not survive. Those that did had to do violence to themselves in order to establish some kind of survival attachment to the primary adult in their life. It is this violence to self that creates what those of us with secure attachment often call difficult people. However, most of them isolate themselves and have terrible suffering. Some are medicated sufficiently to mitigate some of their suffering. Some are over-medicated. Some create havoc whoever they go. However, human customs and societal expectations offer some restraint on those folks as they are forced to pull inward and suffer alone or possibly seek help. The good news is that it is possible as an adult to achieve what is called an earned secure attachment. Many do this through intense therapy or through an unexpected spiritual awakening or through the lucky experience of being surrounded by a healthy, loving, forgiving community. Absent such a process of earned secure attachment, it is extremely dangerous to give power to these folks. Some are CEOs of powerful companies. Some are politicians. Some, unfortunately, are born into the 1%. Due to the extraordinary privilege afforded to the very rich, these folks are often denied even the most obvious social constraints that could mitigate some of their tendencies to blame others as a way to numb their own pain. Even overtly unlawful actions are often swept under the rug with expensive lawyers and subtle or not so subtle influence. Need I mention Donald Trump as a striking example of this? To give this deeply disturbed, dangerous man the kind of power that the people in this country have done is a tragedy, and in my opinion, reflects a deeply disturbed nation.